Rosh Chodesh Nissan brings with it the custom, the practice of reciting the Nisi'im each day for the first 12 days of the month, plus another reading for the 13th day of the month. What are these readings? You'll popularly hear of them today called Nisi'im. All of a sudden, after Aleinu Shabeach, somebody jumps up and starts reading 6 Pisukim of the Nasi of the day. They may follow it with a Mizmor of Tehillim, they may not, and people will jump to say Kaddish, and everybody did Nisi'im together, and it's become a common spectacle, if you will, in many community synagogues and minyanim. And this was never the practice. Correct, this was never the practice. This was a practice of individuals. It was never done as part of the prayer service, never done with the entire congregation, never done with Kaddish. This just wasn't the way it was. This practice of the Nisi'im is done Rosh Chodesh Nisan and beginning those days for the 13 days, as we said, because on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the Mishkan, the tabernacle, was erected. And when it was erected, on each day, the prince, the leader of each tribe, brought his gifts to the Mishkan. And so we read them to recognize it as if we're reenacting those gifts and to show that we are connected to all the Shabbatim, and we ourselves, even though we don't have the Mishkan, it's as if we are bringing our gifts and reenacting, reliving the building of the Mishkan. Now, the old books, whether we're looking at Abraham Hamwi in his 1880 Bet Behira, if we're looking at the famous Hukat HaPasach from 1855, if we're looking at the even more famous and older Sichiyot HaHemdah that was published 12, maybe 15 times, beginning in 1734 and onward, they all talk about this custom. Now, all these books are not Sidurim. These Nisi'im did not appear in the Sidurim. It wasn't part of the regular prayer service. They only appeared in special books for Pesach, either special holiday mahzurim that included extra readings as well as halachot, or they appeared in Haggadot that also had extra things, not just the Haggadah. And all these books say the same thing. יש לאנשי מעשה ללמוד ביום ראש חודש ניסן מיד אחר תפילה בפרשת הקדמת המשכן זכר למשכן שהוקם בו ביום. This was something that was done by אנשי מעשה. And we know the Gemara talks about Hasidim ואנשי מעשה. These are special people, extra pious, extra religious, extra scrupulous in their practice of Torah and Mizvot and in extra readings, things that are above and beyond. And that's the way it's referred to in Hukat HaPasach, in Sichiyot HaHemdah, in Bet Behira, in the Hida in his writings, in B'Chaim Palachi in his writings. This was not something for the common folk. Rather, after the regular people finished praying, we know the prayers end after Aleinu Shabeach and nothing is added to the prayer after that. Then certain Anshe Ma'aseh would say other things privately. They would spend 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes reading this order of the Nisi'im. The first day was the longest of the days because you had to include all the reading from Parashat Pikudei of the establishment and erection of the Mishkan. Then you go into Parashat Naso and you read the whole section leading up to the first Nasi Nahshon ben Aminadab bringing his korbanot, and only after that there's still more to come. It doesn't end over there. Then they go into Yehezkel. There's a section from the Nebi'im to read. After you finish with the Nebi'im, then you go to Tehillim and you read Mizmor Kof Kaf Bet 122. After you read that Mizmor, then you say a special prayer for the Nasi and for the entire Shevet, for the entire tribe. Then you have a section of Zohar to read. After you read that section of Zohar, then there's a prayer for the elevation of the neshamot of all those people that died from the beginning of time, especially if you, the reader, had a parent that you lost. It'd be very important for you to read it to help elevate those souls and to connect them back with the rest of the nation. So this was a procedure that was done. It was done with a lot of thought, with a lot of reverence, and it wasn't something that you just rushed through 6 Pesukim and said Kaddish and ran out, haha, I said Nisi'im today. No, this was something that was really adhered to by special people, by the Zikirim, if you will, by the Hachamim, if you will, but not by everybody. If everybody wants to do it, it's beautiful. But go back to the old format. Look into the old books. See how it was. Like I said, it wasn't published in the Sidurim, the famous Sidurim that they used throughout the Middle East, and all the Sephardic communities like Bet Obed and Bet Menuha and Tefilat HaChodesh. None of them had Nisi'im in it because it wasn't something that was said by everybody on a regular basis, even the month of Nissan, but it was printed in special books for Pesach and for the Haggadah, and those Anshe Ma'aseh would take them out and read them at their appropriate time and do it properly, and they would pass this heritage on, if you will, this custom, this tradition on to those who would learn from them, to those who they would teach, and let them carry this baton on. But if everybody wants to do it, it's beautiful. Let's go back, let's do it the old way, let's give it the proper reference that it deserves. Skulu Shim Rabot, Na'imot V'Tovot.